I was doing a lot of rescue work. I was a peace officer for the state of New York for the League for Animal Protection. Voluntary, I got no pay for it, but I had to carry a gun 24 hours, had a badge, and I would go out and investigate animal abuse.
Wow.
And I'll tell you a quick story. I remember getting called into where a dog was being really abused. A pit bull was being really abused at this location somewhere on Long Island. I'm not going to give you the location. So I go there about 10, 11 o'clock at night. I knock on the door, and these three grubby looking guys answer the door right out of a biker movie. And they say, yeah, what do you want? And I said, well, I got a complaint about your dog being abused. And they said, who are you? And I said, I'm with the Animal League for Protection. And he said, you're a dog cop? You're a dog cop. So then, and it was a motorcycle gang. I'll mention their name. It was the Pagans, a big club on the East Coast, very, very aggressive club. And we started talking. They knew I was in the military. And after that confrontation, we started smoking a joint together. I trained the dog. We became good friends. But
it all worked out.
It all worked out. But so I started getting a little notoriety. You know, I started training some mobsters' dogs. You know, Carlo Gambino and a lot of them.
Gambino's dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, why would you take that job?
Let me tell you, Michael, I knew who I was training. I knew who Carlo Gambino was. By the time I trained his dog, that dog was cooking pasta and speaking Italian, no doubt in my mind. But here's what happened, is once you train or once you work with a mobster, either as their lawyer, as their accountant, their doctor, they all only use the same doctors. So I became like the one to the mob. It's kind of interesting. Henry Hill. You know who Henry Hill is? He was Ray Liotta played Henry Hill in Goodfellas.
Yeah.
I was at his house when he was counting $100 bills with these cash machines. I was working with him. You met
Hill?
Oh, yeah. I worked with his dog. And one of my closest friends, Dico, who you remember, built part of his house. Yeah. And so I got to work with all these mobsters. And again,
were they nice to you?
Yeah. It was, you know what?
Did you ever see anything that was like, oh, shit? Yeah. Any moments where you just go, I bet there's a dead body here.
I didn't think of a dead body because I pull up to the Brownstone House in Brownsville, Brooklyn, a real sleazy neighborhood. So I'm going to train this dog, and I pull up to the house, and I go to the front, and there's two big guys standing right out of a movie. I mean, Hawaiian shirts, the whole bit, Michael, right out of a movie. So I walk in, they say, who are you? I said, well, name's Warren Eckstein. I'm here to train the dog. And they said, what dog? I said, whoever owns the dog. So they had a Neapolitan Mastiff, an Italian dog. So they let me go downstairs into this basement apartment to meet the guy who owned the dog. And I'm looking around and I say, what looks different here? There's like 20 telephones and desks over there. There's another 20 telephones and desks over there. And I'm saying to myself, doesn't look like they're raising money for muscular dystrophy over here. It was a bookie joint. They were just taking all these calls in. They were always nice to me. They always paid cash, no contracts. But quite honestly...
And paid you well.
Oh, and they did pay well, absolutely. This is a quick story about one of the real big monsters. I had just married Faye, maybe a year, and we were poor. So we would sit and eat dinner on the floor. We had no dining room table. We lived in a studio apartment in Long Beach, not too far from where you lived.
Yeah.
So the bottom line was I would get to know this guy, Walter, who was the bodyguard for this major mobster. And he would talk to me. And after 6 or 8 weeks of working with the dog, we get to know each other. And they said, there's one thing, what would you want? And, I said, I would love to have a dinette set for me and my wife so we don't have to eat on the floor. So I finished training his dog. They were real happy with it. The day I left, he gave me an envelope and it said, do it. I didn't open the envelope in front of him. I got into my car, my 1970 Duster, got into my car, opened the envelope, and there was a check there, not a check, there was cash there for $500 and a note that says, go buy that dinette set.
And you did.
And I did. So yeah, they were really nice to work with. Listen, I don't admire what they did on the other side.
Of course.
But in terms of going to their homes and working with their dogs, I never had any problems with any.